Hello again, everybody. Once again, back here with some images I'm working on today. I generally work on several at a time. Today I'm going to be showing you two that are here in front of you. The one on the left is called William Harrison Huntley. He's one of my relatives from way back. And on the right is Jesse James. So as we go along with this video today, I'll explain a little bit more about some of the materials I'm using, but also the stories behind these images. On my dad's side, our family came from England back in 1664. We did a family tree. We ended up in upstate New York. And at that time, there was free land being offered in Illinois. So eventually the family moved to Illinois, and that's where my dad was born. The place in New York where my relatives were from was a huge place for abolition. And I think that's probably one of the major reasons why my great uncle here on the left, William Harrison Huntley, joined the Union and ended up fighting at the Battle of Shiloh in 1862. Unfortunately, he was killed there, but his belongings, his rifle, his cap and ball pistol were all sent back. It's now in the family. But that's the history with him. Over here on the right, as I start the painting here, once again, I'm trying to increase contrast in both these images. And it also shows you the layering I do. The one on the right is called Jesse James. There's an old story on my dad's side of the family that he was actually housed in I guess, one of my great-grandfather's barns one night. And that story was passed down through the ages. But he really was considered like a Robin Hood type character to a lot of people, even though we know he really wasn't. But anyway, that story's kind of it always captured my imagination as a kid. So that's probably the biggest reason I painted this. It may be completely false, but that's what folklore and legends are made of. My mother's side were from Appalachia, probably from either Scottish and Irish heritage. Their family tree doesn't go quite back as far as my dad's, but we figure out they probably were from that area. They definitely have a Scottish name. Anyway, I also had people on the Confederacy. My great grandfather was killed at Chickamauga, fighting for the rebels, and I had another relative that was killed at the Battle of Atlanta. So if my ancestors were alive today, they definitely would have not liked each other. So the Civil War's always kind of captured my imagination probably because of these stories that were passed down through my family. My mother's family were very poor in Appalachia, and that's one reason they traveled north to Indiana in the 1950s to escape their meager existence in rural Kentucky. And here's one of the Prismacolor pencils I use. Um, I'm sure most of you are aware of those. It's one of the best color pencils you can get. But anyway, here I am bringing some more layering into the portrait. over top of the other Prismacolor colors I had added before this. Today we're looking at acrylic, the Neo Pastels, pen and ink, and the Prismacolor pencils, which I'll often combine in several of my images. Here's the ink that I used, Dr. Martin's Bombay Blue on this one. The pen and ink quill really gives a really nice line. I love using the pen, this old way of mark making. It's just, I love the sound of it as well. And here's a bird's eye view of Jesse James and an overall image here. Here's the bird's eye view of William Harrison Huntley. Thanks for watching today. Just a little bit of information about myself. What is your family tree?